200,000. That's the number now at the center of what could become the largest mass visa revocation in U.S. history. But there's something about that number the headlines are leaving out. This is the Anglosphere report. According to State Department documents obtained by the Associated Press and confirmed by 2 U.S. officials, the Trump administration is preparing to revoke the business and tourism visas, known as B1 and B2, of up to 200,000 people who have applied for or are currently seeking asylum in the United States. The visas in question were issued between 2016 and 2026. The action would be coordinated with the Department of Homeland Security. An announcement is expected within weeks, unless the plan is challenged or revised first. Here is the distinction most coverage of this story is missing. A visa is not the same thing as your right to stay in the country. B1 visas are generally used for business travel. B2 visas cover tourism, family visits, and certain medical purposes. They are temporary visitor classifications, and applicants must establish that they intend to make a temporary visit. Revoking that original visa does not, by itself, mean deportation. According to officials cited in reporting on the plan, people with pending asylum cases would not simply be deported because their visitor visas were revoked. Their visitor status would be affected while their asylum cases continued through a separate process. That's a meaningfully different outcome than the headline 200,000 visas revoked might suggest on its own. Why is the administration doing this? State Department spokesman Tommy Pigott put it directly. We are coordinating with DHS to identify and revoke the non-immigrant visas of foreigners who have come to the United States claiming to be short-term visitors, but then file for asylum. Deputy Secretary of State Christopher Landau posted on social media citing a specific case, a Colombian citizen who arrived in 2015 on a tourist visa and later applied for asylum. His words, "Asylum isn't supposed to be a loophole to circumvent immigration law." This is the administration's stated argument that some number of people are using visitor visas specifically as an entry vehicle for asylum claims, rather than for the short-term visits those visas were designed for. This documentary states plainly, that is the administration's characterization. It is not on its own evidence that every affected person did this deliberately or fraudulently. Context matters here too. This isn't the government's first large-scale visa action. In the past 18 months, the State Department has already revoked roughly 175,000 visas. Those cases tied to people convicted or accused of crimes ranging from drunk driving to more serious offenses. This proposed action is different in kind, targeting visa holders based on their asylum-seeking status, not a criminal record. But it follows a pattern of large-scale visa enforcement the administration has already been carrying out. What remains genuinely unknown? AP's own reporting states it wasn't immediately clear, even from the documents themselves, exactly how many of the 200,000 have pending asylum claims versus claims already denied. A distinction that matters enormously for what happens to each person individually. Whether legal challenges succeed in blocking or narrowing the policy is unknown. Whether the final announced number, if this proceeds, matches the 200,000 ceiling reported now is unknown. 200,000 is a real number, from real documents, reported by a wire service that obtained them directly. But what happens to any individual person in that number depends on details this documentary cannot resolve in advance, whether their asylum case is pending or denied, whether they choose to fight the revocation, whether courts intervene. The number is confirmed. What it actually means for 200,000 individual lives is still being written. I'm the Anglosphere Report, connecting the stories shaping the Anglosphere and the world. When someone enters America as a visitor, then asks to stay as an asylum seeker, who ultimately gets to decide what their original intention really was?